claims that speech directed to young children consists primarily of commands which children respond to physical before they begin to produce verbal responses. And it's the same that I'm already saying about how children respond to commands that adults or that teachers say to them, but children respond by physical. So instead, Asher says that with this method, children could learn better or could learn first how to respond instead of how to produce, I don't know, for example, rubber. Do you understand? Yes, yes. Sorry.
Do you have questions?
No?
Did you understand? Did you understand?
Because it's difficult because we don't have the presentation. Please. Well, okay. So that is all for the background. And starting with the watch.
Okay, now a theory of the language is basically the what James Asher say about his investigation. And in his investigation, he saw that the verb is the imperative, and with imperative, most of vocabulary can be learned. And language is composed of abstraction and non-abstractions. And the non-abstractions can be represented by verbs and nouns. But the abstractions can be delayed because only you can understand that when you internalize the vocabulary. So first you have to, in your mind, you have to create blueprints, something like that. And when you have the blueprints, you have the cognitive maps. And with the cognitive maps, you can understand the complex words like the abstracts.
Sorry, just did you? I just had an idea. Did you upload the presentation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you guys, did you have, by any chance, anyone, did you downloaded the app in your cell phone?
Yeah.
Tecnodo? Well, if you did, you can access to the presentation.
Please, could be better. If you can download from the model our presentation, please, if you have internet in your cell phone.
No, I mean, no, the obvious, I mean, there's no power, there won't be power at all day, I think. But if you have, I don't service from your company, from
Yeah.
let's say Movistar, whatever, well, you can download it. If you don't have it, you can.
Okay, the next part is the theory of learning.
Did you write this? Or do you understand this? Theory of language. May I erase?
No.
Well, then let him know when he can erase this so that we can
Yeah, thank you.
move.
Yeah.
Did you explain the last one?
Yeah. Yes.
Here is the
And how they can know how to do that?
when you hear a complex sentence, you maybe only understand one word, and the other words can be understand with cognitive math. But first, in your mind, you have to internalize that word.
Did you finish?
Okay, now the theory of learning. And in this method, it's about comprehension. And the comprehension happens when you have the verbal stimulus and the physical response. So, for example, when you were a child, a father said to his son, "Get the ball." So we have a command, "Get the ball." And the child has a verbal stimulus, "Get the ball," and he responds with an action. The child goes for the ball. And there's a verbal stimulus and a physical response. And then maybe you only understand ball, but the other he can understand with his action. Okay, good. Learner must internalize vocabulary through actions. And is verbal stimulus and physical response. And there are three factors that facilitate the learning process. And is the bio program, the brain lateralization, and reduction of stress.
Can you erase this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
The bio program is basically that the brain is biologically able to understand, to learn a language.
Or your program.
Do you understand? And most of the methods focus on the left side of the brain, and the left side process the language, and the right side process the movement, the motor activity. So total physical response is based on the right side hemisphere of the brain because it's basically motor activity and physical movement. And we can learn easier with the right side brain.
Did you write this? The value program? Okay, raise your hand if you finished writing this. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Reduction of stress.
Do we have to go
Reduction
with
of
that?
stress.
Yes, if you want.
Bioprogram is, for example, when you buy a new computer, the computer comes with predetermined programs. So it's the same in your mind. When you're born, you come with a pre-established program for learning a language. And the last point is reduction of stress. And it's important the action of stress for a successful language learning. Because when you learn your first language, you are on a free stress environment. And if you are without stress, so you can learn better the language learning process without stress. So also the physical movement helps to the reduction of the stress.
Objectives. The objectives of the core of the TPR method are to develop oral skills in the students, to make them able to communicate with native speakers, and that's basically what all the objective of the TPR is. For basic speaking skills, so they can communicate with native speakers. Now the syllabus of the course. The syllabus of the course is, unlike other methods, it is based on the attention to the contents instead of the meaning of the contents. They have to have an intention instead of a meaning. All the way around. It's about the meaning. Sorry. But this intention that they have to have, or the meaning that they have, is based on what is needed in the classroom. It is not based on what the teacher wants to teach or something like that, but what the students need. And a fixed number of items are introduced at the same time. It says that a learner can assimilate to 12 to 36 items at a time. And that speaks about the global meaning and then to the specific meaning.
Students can remember
12 to 36 items at a time, according to this method. Lexical items. Words.
In this case, the students create their own
No.
knowledge.
No, it's for basic speaking.
Yes.
We will see that in types of teaching and learning, which is the next topic. It is based in the imperative drills. Imperative drills are activities more likely. If I give you an order, you do it. That's it. In conversational dialogues, that's another thing that can be used in the TPR method, but only after 120 hours in the course. For the really basics, it's more like they don't speak English unless they feel ready for speaking. And they don't create until they have more advanced level, because TPR method is like a evolutive method. It goes from the basics to the more advanced. You know, like you have like a week in TPR and now you make a conversation. It's not like that. Another activities that can be used in TPR are role plays, slide presentations, reading and writing activities. The slide presentations is more like we are used to, like a slide with text and that's it. It's more like images. And the teacher asks to the students, what is the man with the cap doing? And the man is like taking a dog for a walk, and the student says, he's taking a dog for a walk. It's not like letters, you don't teach the letters. The grammar in this method is taught inductively, so you don't teach grammar rules. And yeah, that's, do you have any questions about the activities? No?
Well, in this method, the student has in all the course, they have to speak all the time, right? They don't usually use a notebook or...
No, there are no notebooks in this method.
Okay.
Nor textbooks, they don't base on textbooks. And the students speak when they are ready to speak. It's not like you don't force them to speak. If they don't want to, just don't let them. And the learner roles. In this method, the learner is a listener and a performer. As I said, I give you an order and you do it. There also, they also have no influence, little or no influence in the content of the course. The teacher decides what to teach, but based on the learner's needs, which is a little bit contradictory, but and a student can respond to the previously taught items, lexical items. For example, if in the first class I taught you about activities like go to the table, sit on the chair, things like that, in a couple weeks I told you the same lexical item, you will be able to recognize it. For the teacher role, the teacher is active and direct. For example, if I'm the teacher and I'll tell you in this activity we're gonna have to run in the court, I will have to run with you. It's not like just run in the court, give a couple laps to the thing, I'm gonna be sitting here.
Yeah, I know.
And it's also
Do you want to copy this?
Yes.
stage director. For example, I'm going to give, for the role play activities, I'm going to give you the roles of the teacher. I'm going to be like, you are going to be like a nurse, and you are going to be a patient, and you're going to be the doctor. Things like that. The teacher, as I said, decides what to teach. That's where the learner has little or no influence in the content of the course. The teacher presents a new material. For example, the lexical items are introduced. The teacher presents them first and acts them first. For example, if I told you, sit on the chair, I'm going to sit on the chair first. But in more advanced, in the more advanced, the TPR time is over 120 hours, because of reality and things like that. But in the first couple weeks, you don't really need material for this, just your body.
Can you let me coffee, please?
Teacher always initiates the interactions. Even there are student and student interaction, the teacher always starts. And one important thing of the TPR method is that the teacher acts as a parent. You know, when our parents correct us, and when we are small child, they don't tend to correct every single thing that we do. Just like the major failures or the major mistakes that we have, they correct them. It's the same with the TPR. The teacher corrects the mispronunciations and the grammatical mistakes as little as possible in the first stages of the TPR method. As the method evolves, the teacher becomes more and more strict and pays more attention to corrections. For example, if you have like a 120-hour plus of the method, and you're still making mistakes that you did in the first stages, then I'm not going to be like, you have these mistakes. No, it's more like, I told you many times that that is not how to say it. Or that's not the way correct to say it, and the way correct to say it is this or that.
In that moment or when the student finished
In the
the
moment.
sentence?
It's in it. But in the 120 plus. In the first one, you don't correct them as frequently. Just the little mistakes, you try to correct them. And also on a part of that is like the teacher avoids to have a too narrow tolerance for mistakes. For example, in the first stages, you have a very wide tolerance for mistakes. You tolerate many mistakes and just correct little. But as the stage goes on, you narrow your tolerance until there is none. Now that's all the teacher wrote. Do you have any doubt about it? Now with the role for instructional materials. Instructional materials. For the beginning, as I said, you don't need any materials, just your voice and your body. That's all that you need. And as the course develops, in the intermediate stage of the course, you will have to use furniture. For example, chairs, desks, objects, pens, books, things like that. And for the more developed course, you will have to use or collect materials like realia, pictures, slides, and charts, many other things. As I said, it's an developing, course that develops with the time. So it's interesting about that because most methods are like you're gonna do this and this for the whole course. But this is for little stages, and because we start with beginners that have little or no knowledge with the language or no contact with the language. And that's it.
Okay. Procedure. Okay, for the procedure we have first a review. As Alex said, the teacher gives a summary of the last lesson. And for example, if you in last class saw, I don't know, verbs, you have to introduce or give the class at the first with a summary that you saw in the last lesson. So teacher repeats the verbs or items or whatever object was learned in the last class that were learned in the previous lesson. Okay, thank you. And the next one will be giving commands. As Alex again told you, the teacher gave commands to the students. For example, I don't know. Okay.
Simon says.
Excuse me.
Like Simon says.
Oh, like Simon says. I told you. Okay. Simon says, stand up, and you all stand up. Or maybe the teacher may tell to one of the students, for example, Daniela, pass me your notebook. And Daniela comes to my place and bring me her notebook. And I can tell to Susumi, bring me your backpack, and Susumi has to stand up, and pass me her backpack. Thank you. Okay, teacher gives several instructions to the students and they must follow what is said. As I told you, many of you, or well, all the group needs to do something. Because the teacher is telling you that you have to do that. Even though they have not done the actions before, even though you don't know the vocabulary when I told you, maybe we are going to view to see this week colors, I don't know. And you don't know colors, and you don't know what is yellow. And I told you, okay, take out your yellow color. So you don't know what is a yellow thing. So I write it, and well, but with a yellow marker. Yeah. So soon the teacher needs to alter the order of the commands, and children still have to do the things that the teacher is telling you. Sorry, there's a mistake. Sorry. Do you know, well, before you uh, read this, do you know what is, do you have an idea what is role reversal? Role reversal? No? No? Okay, the student have to pass to the front and give comments to her or his classmates and the teacher. And the teacher also have to do the things that the student is telling you. Is it clear? You change the role. As I told you, the teacher give comments and then write it on the board, and you start to copy on your notebooks. So for that you have a background for next lesson. Is it understood? You have questions with procedure? Do not look at me. Do you have questions? Yeah.
The teacher always, all the time, all the class, write comments in the board?
Could be an activity. Not all the time. So you can do whatever you want, but you have to. The activity has to be physical. You have to stand up and move, and all the time you have to move. And you have to move with the students. As the students saw you have to do that, and they repeat what you do. This is just for vocabulary and everything. Obviously, you have to write it down in the board. Any questions on that? You sure? Is it correct? Okay.
So as we have seen in the whole presentation, TPR is basically learning by doing. And can someone tell me an advantage of this method?
I think the most advantage of this method is when the students are all the time on movement, so they can get bored.
Yes.
So they have to, maybe, I don't know, have fun in that way.
Yeah, the student always needs to be active. As we can see here, they are actually fun because you are playing and you are learning up too. And the activities are good for kinesthetic learners. Do you know what is kinesthetic?
Yes.
Yes. For example, here the students that are studying physical education, Yes, they cannot be sit for a long period of time. They need to be moving. You know, there are people that learn, for example, dancing or something, doing things like that. And it is also good because the teacher does not require a lot of preparation for the classes. You know, you can do your class without a planned lesson, and it is going to work. And it is also a good tool for learning vocabulary, like Alex said, without the grammar rules. You house the grammar in your text. And now, can someone tell me disadvantage?
Maybe the materials that they can use material for the classes.
Yeah, for example, they don't use textbooks or notebooks. Can someone tell me another disadvantage?
The students develop oral skills and not reading and writing.
Yes, you only produce your oral skills and also listening. And the students cannot express their own points of view, so it is like limited. And it's also challenging for child students because they maybe don't want to participate, so it is going to be difficult to give a class with child students. It is suitable only for beginners. For an advanced level, it can be very difficult to use this method. And also another disadvantage is that it is always need to be accompanied with another approach or other method, because if you only use TPR, it's not going to work. You need to use another approach. Can I erase this? Erase? Can I erase this too? Here are some characteristics of TPR that is considered right range, a range tool, because the right emitter of your brain is the one that acquires the language, and the students react with their bodies as well as their brains. Like I said, it is good for kinesthetic learning because they learn by movements. Help students internalize vocabulary without teaching the grammar rules, just inductively, and use psychomotor systems to teach vocabulary by movements. Enhance listening skills and also your oral skills, but the main skill that you develop here is the listening. And there is also another characteristic, like the learner roles are performers. Do you know why the learner role is a performer? No? It's because the students need to act, for example, in the role play, you need to act. So it is like you are the performer and the teacher is like the director. And the learners monitor their own progress. So you check how much you have been progressing during your classes. And the verbal response is not necessary because you only use your body. And it's good for overcoming fear of speaking. If you are shy or you don't want to be in front of the class, this method it is going to be good for you to improve your skills. And the reading and writing is taught after grammar and vocabulary. The listening skill is developed first, and then they teach the grammar and the vocabulary. And the students should be active and participative. And it also emphasizes the active learning by actions. Do you have a question? introduction, the TPR is one of the teaching methods that emphasize active learning interactions. And this means that learning speaking through actions, through listening to their teacher and before requiring them to speak and asking them to practice using verbal communication. And there are 3 steps to use this method. That is to listen, to watch, and to imitate.
Five line, reading and writing are these, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Questions? Is everything clear for you? Are you
Fanny,
sure?
do you want to have a participation? Tell us what is the name of the creator of this method?
James Asher.
Thank you. Who else? Sandy. Sandy, are you Sandy? No, Sandra. Yes, Sandra. Yes, Sandra. Tell us one advantage of this method, please.
They have home.
What?
They have home.
They have home. Are tremendous phone to students. Yes.
I have another advantage. You,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
so
sure.
you can develop speaking.
A what?
You can develop
Seriously, guys?
Yes, thank you, Jessica. Who else? Who else want a participation for today? On the
Okay.
list?
Okay, what is the learner's role?
the learning.
Learner role.
The learner role. The learner act as a the learners act as a has a performance participation in the class. He
You can see your yes. Yes.
Can we raise?
Yes.
the learner is active.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Someone else? Some listener? Listener.
In performance.
They have to do all the teacher said and respond if the teacher has something.
Also, as I told you, the learner could have the teacher role. For instance. So,
Yeah, can somebody tell me what are the teacher roles?
teacher role.
He decides what to teach.
Yes.
and also provides activities to learn, for learning.
Yeah. What else?
Your name? I forgot your name. Oh, thank you. Jessica?
He is active and elective, and he provides new material for the students, and he models.
Okay, thank you.
Now,
Who gives the commands? Commands.
And learners also.
how many lexical items can be introduced at a time?
That's it, teacher.
That's it. Now, for the next class, as you might saw, or you might not, the TPR method is pretty much like physical education. And so the next class we are going to realize, we are going to perform some activities. So I ask you to bring comfortable clothes or sports clothes because it's going to be in the court.
And tennis shoes.
And tennis
shoes, of course. That's for sure.
You're going to use water
What?
for your activities? Water.
No,
Yeah.
no. You mean as
So make sure to bring comfortable clothes for next class. And okay, I'm gonna stay playing with the team right now. The others, I'll see you on I'll see you on Friday. Now you have